Hi everyone, Risotto here and welcome back to another Airsoft video. First of all, I hope everyone is keeping well during the pandemic. It looks like Airsoft might be back on the cards in the UK very soon, so fingers crossed for that. Thought I'd make a quick video talking about my DIY Mk23 suppressor. Now there are tons of videos on YouTube on how to make your own inserts for Airsoft mock suppressors, so I won't be going over that in this video. However, I will be discussing my experiences on using one of these and thoughts on its general effectiveness during games. So let's go back to the start and discuss why I decided to make one of these. This was actually a lockdown project for me last year. I've owned an ASG Mk23 for a number of years now, and both the ASG and STTI versions actually come with mock suppressors, which houses an extended inner barrel and not a foam-filled suppressor like the Tokyo Marui version. Obviously, having the inner barrel isn't going to dampen the sound in any way, but it will affect the pistol's power and accuracy. Now, the mock suppressor is made from very weak plastic and must have been glued together with PVA glue or something like that because it snaps off incredibly easily. I had my Mk23 holstered on my side, and as I crouched down during a game, the suppressor caught on the ground and fell apart. As a replacement, I purchased the Silverback Mk23 suppressor, which till this day is a fantastic option. The good thing about the Silverback version is that it's made from aluminium, so you're not going to have any issues with it snapping. I have made a separate video all about this product already, so definitely make sure you check that out. I still wanted to recycle the old suppressor though, and lockdown last year gave me some time to do that. Just to briefly discuss the build process, essentially I collected all of the pieces, and instead of just reassembling it with the inner barrel, I made some circular baffles from this scotch brite material you can see here. And I used the suppressor as a guide to cut them into shape. The scotch brite material is essentially just a washing up pad. You can find these in most supermarkets. So these are the discs, and this is an example of what it will probably look like once you cut it into shape. You can see here it's got the hole in the middle, which is about the same diameter as the inner barrel. Just here, I use it as a guide to fit it to shape. After every 5 or so discs, what I did was got a piece of scotch brite that hadn't been made into a disc, and I just rolled it into a small tube. So you basically had 5 rings of scotch brite, 1 small tube of scotch brite, and then 5 more rings of scotch brite, just to help bounce the sound around inside, which should in theory make it quieter. As part of this process, I also shortened the length. Now the Silverback is fairly large, and I figured if I'm going to have 2 suppressors for my Mk23, it would be nice to have a shorter option as well. I did try using some sponge as an alternative material, but I found it quite hard to cut to shape, so I stuck with the scotch brite discs. Of course, there are loads of other options out there. As I said, quick YouTube search, there are tons of great tutorials online. Once all the material was inside, I then super glued the front cap and the end caps back in position. Now you can see here I didn't need to worry about threading or anything like that because of course it still has the thread on it from the original mock suppressor. Then of course finished off the exterior with some Jack Pike tough tape, which if you're a regular viewer of this channel know I use on absolutely everything. So I actually use both of these suppressors depending on my loadout and the style of play. If it's more of a fast-paced game and I don't plan on using a leaf suit, then I'll probably run the short DIY version. But if I'm running my sniper rifle and plan on being quiet and quite concealed throughout the games, I'll generally run the Silverback suppressor. Now, is it effective? This being the main question and really the point of this video. In short, yes, it is effective and certainly reduces the amount of noise coming from the pistol when fired. I'm going to do a quick sound test for you now. Firstly, without any suppressor. Second, with the Silverback suppressor. And finally, with the DIY stubby suppressor. Now we're going to attach the Silverback suppressor. And finally, we're going to use the DIY stubby suppressor. I'll let you guys come to your own conclusion from that brief sound test. This being said, as we all know, the Mk23 is a quiet pistol by nature, so both are effective options. The advantage of having this stubby DIY suppressor is definitely its length. The Mk23 is a large pistol, and with a full-length suppressor attached, it can be pretty unwieldy at times, certainly to holster. The stubby suppressor is a nice balance between quieting the sound of the pistol and practicality. But as I say, I personally run both depending on my loadout for the day. And I would recommend trying this yourself if you have a clone Mk23 and want to make it quiet without spending the money on a brand new suppressor. And I have to say, I do think the Mk23 looks great with a short suppressor. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, then please subscribe to the channel. Do you guys use DIY suppressors, or do you prefer to buy other aftermarket suppressors for your airsoft guns? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments.